This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined today by Chris Billam-Smith. We're down at McGuigan's gym in London. How you doing, Chris?
Very well, thanks, mate. Yourself?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for asking. That's a very chipper response.
Yeah. I'm good, mate. I'm in good spirits. The fights have been announced and we're excited.
You are excited. The fights have been announced. I know you're in action this weekend. We'll come on to that shortly. Fight that has been officially announced is you versus Riakporhe. Talk to me about the fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight. You know, it's obviously one we obviously looked for the Isaac Chamberlain fight and he didn't want it, so then we quickly turned our heads to Riakporhe. It's a great fight, one I'm really excited about. It's a good domestic clash, and it's, you know, a few people recently have started showing that prospects and stuff are fighting each other unbeaten and stuff. And probably not going to say that. I'm not going to repeat what Taylor's just said. But yeah, it's a great fight. You know, you've got two unbeaten prospects that are going to go in there against each other and put it on the line. So it's good.
Now, you mentioned the Isaac Chamberlain fight. Isaac Chamberlain and Riakporhe, former stablemates. That was a fight that was mooted for a while for you. Which fight do you think is a more difficult fight, Isaac Chamberlain or Riakporhe?
I'd truthfully say probably Isaac Chamberlain style-wise. For me, he's harder to hit clean. He's quite slick and stuff. So yeah, I'll probably say Isaac Chamberlain's a more difficult fight. But they both pose, you know, they've both got their different strengths and different weaknesses. So, but yeah, I'd probably say Isaac Chamberlain was a harder fight.
As I understand it, you've done bits of sparring with both Isaac Chamberlain and Riakporhe earlier on in your career. No, not extensive, but can you take anything from that? Just tell me about it.
Yeah, I only sparred Isaac twice, and I sparred Riakporhe once, and that was 3 rounds at the end of. I was met after I'd sparred Isaac, so I was only training for a 4-rounder at the time. I'd done 5 Isaac, and then I had to jump in with Riakporhe. So yeah, for 3 rounds and nothing. It was a terrible spar from both our parts. I was knackered and none of us were throwing anything. So yeah, you best ask Shane about that, and he'll tell you more.
Not really the way to sell a fight. You're supposed to say that it was explosive from the first bell to last bell, and people would have paid to watch it. That's kind of the way you promote a fight.
Yeah, well, I mean, the fight will be explosive from the first bell, but you asked, you know, I'm not a liar, so. Yeah, the truth is that spar wasn't great for various reasons, and but I'm really excited about the fight, and that will definitely be explosive.
Now, I've known you for a number of months now. I've known you for a long time, but this is the first, without any disrespect, proper fight that you've been put into against a Riakporhe. No disrespect to the opponent that you're facing this Friday in Nottingham. How is that different for you that you've now finally got an opportunity to show your skills on such a big platform?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a ring. It's still the same job we've got to do. People say it's my biggest fight to date, but it won't be the biggest fight in my career. So it's just another step along the way. With it being a domestic fight for a title and 10-rounder and there's a bit of hype around it, then yeah, it gives you a bit more fire in the belly. But than, you know, fighting, you know, Europeans and on smaller shows and whatnot. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just a fight. You're still in a ring. I've still got a job to do, and that's what we plan on doing.
Now, you are fighting this Friday, as I mentioned, in Nottingham. I've forgotten the name of the person that you're fighting. My apologies if you're watching this. Tell me about who it is that you're fighting, and are you really looking to kind of make a statement just before that fight date in July, so people kind of know about you before you go into that fight? You're still something of an unknown quantity.
Yeah, you know, it's another fight I've got. I think his style's a lot different from what Riakporhe's is, so you won't be able to take much from it. But yeah, obviously I'm looking to get in there and do a good number on him and look good. Doing so with Sky fans will be there, etc. So at the show, so yeah, looking at doing a number on him on Friday, and then be a few days off and straight back into camp. We've obviously this fight's. Obviously, we'd known that this fight's a possibility for a while, so we've actually been already half training for it, you know, with stuff we're doing on the pads, sparring and stuff like that. So we've already done like a mini camp before the main camp. So I'll have a little bit of time off after this weekend and then crack straight onto it.
That's something I always like to kind of talk to you about, really, being how should I word this? The baby of the McGuigan stable, shall we say, is a nice way to put it. You've put it in different ways in the past. I won't put that into words. But you've got the likes of Josh Taylor challenging for his world title, Luke Campbell waiting for a world title date. You've had the likes of Froch-Groves around the gym, David Hay. How important is that experience going into this fight? I mean, you've had world-class sparring with your Froch-Groves. You've been around fighters. You're currently around the fighter training for a world title fight. How much of an impetus does that give you going into the fight?
Yeah, it's great, and like I touched on before, you saying now it's a big fight. It's not as big as those fights in a sense, because so that helps with dealing with it, and it's not when sometimes people they might make it their world title fight and then they don't perform under that. So, but it's a massive boost having the lads around me. Obviously, they're all training for 12-round world title fights, and I'm training alongside them and grafting alongside them, and that's the stage that I want to get to. So I've got to just keep progressing along the way. And this is the first step. I was there for my first fight. First fight I went and watched under Cyclone was when Josh Taylor boxed O'Hara Davies, and that was a similar bout in regards to two prospects fighting each other. I can take a lot. I was there in the changing room before and after the fight, and in the build up to watching Josh train and stuff, so I can take a lot from that and the way he dealt with it. So they're all experience wise, it's really a really good experience for me to be in and around these lads.
Now, for those people who are watching this who maybe don't know, you are the most famous man to ever come out of Bournemouth. What has been the reaction from people at home who have seen that you're boxing on a pay-per-view bill against Richard Riakporhe?
Yeah, it's been mad actually. My phone, once it got announced, I was actually Shane came down to Bournemouth for the weekend. He was staying down there, so I got a lift off him on the way home, and it got announced when we were in the car. My phone was non-stop on Friday, just people asking for tickets straight away and congratulating me on the fight being announced and stuff, and getting that opportunity and whatnot. So yeah, it's nice. It's been really nice, and it's the buzz that everyone's got is great. There's a massive buzz around it. Had the local paper on the phone today and stuff like that. So it's all part and parcel of it, and there's a lot of people wanting tickets. So I've got to order plenty of tickets. Hopefully, I've got plenty left.
Now, for those people who haven't watched you, maybe not as familiar as I'm sure they will be after July the 20th, what do you think is going to be the difference when you step in the ring with Richard Riakporhe?
I believe the other day he spoke about levels, and which was quite ironic, I thought, because as an amateur I did a lot better than him as an amateur. I don't believe he ever got out of London in the ABAs, and obviously I reached 2 finals, semi-finals, quarters. The least I ever got was to a quarter final of the ABAs. So so if that is what it's going to be. Right, he's right. There is levels, but he's got it the wrong way around. I believe we'll be very well prepared. We've got some good sparring lined up here in the gym. We're gonna have some great sparring for the fight, I'm excited to put on a real good show, especially being on such a big platform such as Sky Sports. Such a great platform for me to really put on a show, and that's what really drives me. I perform when I'm being seen as the underdog as well. Let's not forget that. So that really drives me, and that's when I'll perform, being the underdog in a fight. That'll bring out the best of me by far.
Now, we won't talk about the sparring that you've had because we're not allowed to. But going up next week, next week you've got Josh Taylor obviously challenging for the world title in Glasgow. How does that affect your preparations? Because I understand Shane's going to be going up there from Tuesday. What does that leave you to do? Well,
I'll be probably training at home a little bit next week. Just a bit of mobility stuff and a bit of strength work maybe. Nothing too major next week because I've been in camp the whole year since the second week of January, so I need that rest. It'll do me good to just do a little bit of light stuff, and then after that I'll be in full swing in camp. I thought I was obviously going to be on Josh's undercard at first, so it would have been the same as normal. Would have had a week off, but this gives me even more time because I still would have had a bit of time off after that fight, but this gives me a longer camp going in. Like I said, we've already had a little mini camp with regards to the opponent, and I've had a long camp and a good camp, very good camp I've been injury free. I've been sparring well, and yeah, I really feel like the sort of taking the stabilisers off now, and we can let go.
And one person that you haven't been sparring, probably because he's a bit too big for you now, is George Groves. Hopefully George doesn't watch this, because next time I see him he'll probably hit me. But what do you make of the recent sort of comments from Carl Froch about George? George is somebody who you know very well, both inside the ring and outside the ring. Do you think that's just Carl Froch being Carl Froch, or do you think there's any legs in him wanting to fight George again?
Maybe George outdid him on the commentary. Maybe he just thinks, he's better than me at that as well, or he's better than me at the commentary. He's taking my limelight, and he just can't let things sit. I don't get it. It's funny because everyone looks at, George, and he's everyone seems to like him more than they like Froch. I mean, I understand why, but it's funny how he's got a bigger fan base, even though the results of the fight would sometimes suggest otherwise. But I just don't get it. Like, just let it go. It's just he seems to be so bitter and stuff. And I'm sure Froch might end up watching this, and he'll see me in his own town at the weekend and give me some grief.
Roll around on the cobbles.
Yeah, he'll probably start calling me out, saying he'll fight me at cruiserweight. He just wants to stay relevant, I think, and he should just do that I believe, by just staying in the job. I've never actually met Carl or spoke to him, so I don't know what he's like as a person. But with those comments on Twitter and stuff like that, you just think, why? What's the point? It's this was 4 years ago it'd be in the end of this month. So yeah, strange situation, and I'm pretty sure George isn't coming out of retirement to fight Carl Froch free.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, but you've kind of cleared that up. Personally, I don't see George coming out of retirement, and I'm sure you don't. Just before we wrap up, I'm sure he wouldn't forgive me if I didn't ask about Josh Taylor. As I mentioned earlier, boxing Ivan Baranchyk next week for the IBF super lightweight title. How's he been looking in camp? Yeah,
very good. Sometimes it gets other camps before. Sometimes his sharpness isn't in as it comes into the last stage, but it's been sharp all camp. I'm really excited for the fight. I can't wait for him to become a world champion. Obviously been around him, like I said, since the O'Hara Davies fight, and we've become good friends. So yeah, I'm really excited for that fight. He's looked sharp. He's had some great sparring in here. Breezing the rounds, the amount of rounds he's doing. He's been sparring some good people. Sparring Ted Cheeseman and a mate of mine actually from back home, Lee Cutler. They've both been giving him. They're both like middleweights as well, and they've both been giving him really good work. Lee even did the honour of cutting his hair to make himself look like Ivan Baranchyk, which is pretty funny. I don't think he meant it, but he covered, and he's obviously got the mick took out of him. But yeah, no, it was great sparring, and he's on fire as per usual. Prediction wise, I think Josh will end up taking him out. He'll be dangerous early on, Baranchyk, and I think Taylor will just outbox him, and then the mid to late rounds, I think he'll take him out. The body shots will wear him down, and then he'll just work his way through his gears, which everyone's seen his work rate before, knows what he's capable of, and I'm really excited for him to get that IBF belt.
Okay, well, you've just broken down Josh Taylor's fight. Before we go, I'd like you to break down your own fight. Not this weekend's fight, with all due respect, but July the 20th when you step in the ring with Richard Riakporhe. How's the fight going to
go? It'd be a good fight. It'd be interesting to see. He's going to be very confident coming in. He's come off the back of two wins against unbeaten opponents. I don't believe any of them are, no disrespect to them, especially Sam Hyde. He was winning the fight, and a freak injury, obviously lost him that fight. All he had to do was make it to the bell. I had him way up on the cards. But yeah, and Sam's a nice lad. We were on a GB squad together. But he's a different style to me. He's a bit shorter. He comes tucked up and has that sort of Joe Gallagher style about him. Good fighter, Sam. But yeah, and he obviously proved that Richard can be beaten. Although he didn't beat him, he proved in that fight he can be beaten. He obviously carries power, Richard. So we've got to be wary of that. But I believe the stuff I'll do will nullify his work. And yeah, I think I'll outbox him early on, and then I believe I'll take him out in the middle rounds, to be honest. And that's no disrespect to Richard. He seems like a nice enough bloke, but this is business, as they say. And that's the way I see the fight going. yeah, and I'm really excited to get in there and do the business.
Okay, well, Chris Billam-Smith, the gentleman, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Thank you very much for having a shave to start the interview. You look very, very handsome. Look at that face. Look forward to catching up with you soon. Not going to actually be at the show in Nottingham this week. I'll see you in Glasgow next week.
No worries, mate. I'll see you. You're going to miss the big fight with Yassine Habachi.
Sorry, mate.
That's all right, mate. I'll let you off, but I'll see you in Glasgow.
Cheers, mate.